Today we're testing out these two generators to see which one of these might just be the better buy for you guys. With only $50 difference in purchase price, we're going to go through a bunch of the features and do some testing as far as sound checks and load checks and just see which one, well, you guys might happen to like better. And as far as size goes and weight, the Westinghouse is just a little bit bigger and it's also a little bit heavier with just about 3 pounds on it. And if you guys want to see more in-depth and detailed videos, check out the unboxing where I show you how to set these things up and also what it would be like to change the oil, which the Westinghouse is actually a little bit more difficult with this smaller window and kind of the drain bolt off to the side, versus the Champion does happen to have a nice drain hose, and I go over a whole bunch of other detailed information as well on those unboxing videos. And while you guys are here, be sure to smash that like button for me, and be sure to subscribe if you guys want to see more content, and ring that bell that we don't miss any other content coming out. We'll go over the features on these generators real quick, like these display panels. These guys will show you all kinds of information like runtime, how much fuel, and how much load, and those other videos I talked about earlier would tell you a lot more. If you want to fire up this particular Champion generator, turn on that battery switch, but before you press the start button, you manually press the choke, and then you'd go ahead and press the yellow button like so. And then after a few seconds, you'll just go ahead and press that choke button off, and then it's good to go, and it'll just automatically turn on the eco mode. Versus a Westinghouse, you just turn on the battery switch, tap the start button there, make sure the efficiency mode is off and the fuel switch is on. And then one thing with the remote, it automatically controls the choke on the Champion, which I don't know why the dial doesn't do it. It's just something that they happen to do. Anyway, we'll go over a few other features. Like under here, you have a 30 amp RV plug along with the Westinghouse as well. Both of these do come with a 120 plug. And if you happen to notice, a lot of the generators now are coming with weather protection caps on breakers and parallel ports, which I do happen to like because it keeps the dust and the elements out. So we'll take another look right here at a 12 volt socket that the Champion does provide along with a USB plug, versus the Westinghouse just gives you USB plugs only, which the other one is a little bit more handy to have. But if you happen to notice up here, Westinghouse actually provides you with a battery charger to keep the battery charged on this generator all the time. That way if the power goes out, you're good to go. And if you notice over here, the fuel selector switch, when the generator is running, you just turn it to the off position. That'll drain all the fuel out of the carburetor, which helps with storage. Not really sure why the Champion didn't do that. Another thing we'll also take a look at too is the big open air intake that's on the Westinghouse. And on the Champion, if you take a look, it's kind of down here low to the ground where you can maybe suck in quite a bit more contaminants. But if you look underneath the Westinghouse, there are a couple air intakes on each side along the bottom, which, well, you know, the best way to prevent any dust and other kind of contaminants getting inside your generator is really just kind of put something underneath it. That way things can't get under there. A sheet of plywood typically works best. So we're going to check out our specs before we get our testing going. You can see that Champion actually has more starting watts versus Westinghouse actually has more running watts and more running amps. It also carries a larger 224 cc engine, and also 53 dB is claimed at 23 feet, which is the distance we'll test at, along with a larger 3.4 fuel tank and 18 hours of runtime at 25% load. But the Champion actually is more fuel efficient, and you can find out all kinds of information like that from our sponsor at Generator Bible. If you guys haven't been here before, make sure to check them out. Do a Google search where you can look at over 500 generators, including bestsellers where you can get all kinds of information. Or if you happen to know what brand you're looking for, there's over 26 to research, including filters or a generator sizer to help narrow down your guys' search. And after you find one you might happen to like, they even have some price shopping you can do, along with all the information you want to read, along with awesome videos too that you guys can check out, along with comparison charts. Or if you have two that you want to compare right away, you can punch those up, compare them, and get all kinds of information that you need. So make sure to check out Generator Bible. Alright, so we're going to get our testing underway, and right now we're going to start off with a Champion. It is in eco mode, it's 23 feet away, and so I've already let this run for about a minute, and so what I'm going to show you is just a smaller clip of basically a few seconds to kind of get an average on what the numbers are. And if we take a look with it running on eco and no load, we're at about 59 decibels, so we're going to basically add a little bit something different this time. When they do these sound level checks, they actually do them at 23 feet with a quarter load. So we're going to kind of try to simulate that a little bit with a heat gun here. And this will provide us 750 on low and 1500 watts on high. And so we'll turn it on low first. It's not quite a quarter load, but you can see a little bit of power kind of coming up there on the meter, about 750 watts. This will kind of give you an idea of what it's like to actually have something plugged in if you have this on a trailer or a load, because most of the time you just don't have your generator out there idling doing nothing. So, all right, now that we got 750 watts, you can see that the numbers are just slightly higher. It's a very low load, but we'll raise it up just a little bit after kind of doing a few runs through it. Now we'll go back to the generator and we'll turn that heat gun all the way up. And now this is a little bit more than quarter load, so it's not exactly what they're doing as far as how they compare them, but it does give us an idea. So you can see about 1450 watts, and the generator is running up a little higher now, so let's just kind of see where it comes out. And now you can see that, well, basically the numbers are a little bit higher, and we do get a couple little spikes here and there, but that's why we kind of do an average on this and let it run for about a good minute. I'm only showing you guys a piece of it. And after letting it run for a little while, you guys can see with a 1500 watt load, about 62.5 decibels. So we'll do the same thing with a Westinghouse now. So we'll turn the fuel on, turn that battery switch on, make sure the efficiency mode is off, press the button, and there we go, it fires up. So we'll go ahead, we'll do that same test. You can see that basically that little LCD display there kind of, gives us a little information, and we'll put that efficiency mode on now because that's how we tested the Champion. And as you can see right off the bat, the Westinghouse is actually giving us a little bit higher of a dB rating. The tone is also a little bit different, so that might be something to consider. And letting it run for a little bit, getting about 61 decibels, so a couple more than the Champion. So we'll go ahead and do that same load test now. About 750 watts to start. Kind of let this guy kind of equal out for a second. Then we'll go back and test it. You can see kind of on the meter there, it's not really showing up much, but when we put the 1500 watt load on there, you'll see it kind of change. And now that we have the 750 watt load on there, not a whole lot of a difference, but we're being nitpicky. It is up just slightly a little bit, so about a half decibel gain, just like the Champion. Alright, so we'll do that 1500 watt load now, and as you can kind of see, we're getting a couple little spikes, but don't worry about that. Sometimes the birds chirping or a quick wind gust will make that thing spike a little bit, but after letting it run, you can kind of see that it is a little bit higher, about 63 as opposed to 62.5 on the Champion, but that's not very much, so we'll kind of call that one a tie. All right, we're going to do a remote check to kind of check distance. You want to make sure the battery light switches are on, they're in the run positions, and eco mode is kind of on, which the Champion will put it in eco automatically with basically, the remote. And as I'm doing my testing, you can see the weather out here is kind of changing on me. So I'm going to be at about 150 feet away, and we're going to try the remote, give it a little start. And there it goes, fires up the Champion and no problem. So these are rated for about 80 feet. And of course, we're at 150 feet roughly, line of sight. You can see there's not really anything in the way. So now we'll go ahead and turn this guy off. And the other day when I did the unboxing on this, it actually did turn it off in this particular location. And so I stood here for a little bit trying to do it, and it still wouldn't go off. So you can see here a long press or a short press, and nothing really changes. So we'll just kind of walk a little bit closer and kind of see if we can get it to shut off, which is odd because, like I said the other day, it actually worked just fine. So we'll just kind of keep pressing it, go about another 10 or 15 feet closer until it shuts off. And there she goes. So right about where that little dark spot is. All right, so we're going to do the same spot. That little corner is kind of where I start because that's about 150 feet, give or take, and same thing with the Westinghouse. Boom, fires right up, no problem. Let that run for a second. All right, so now we'll go ahead and try and shut it off. And so far, nothing. So it's odd because, again, both of these worked at this location the other day. So not really sure. Maybe the moon's aligned differently. Who knows? So after trying it a couple more times, we'll just walk up here and kind of see where it shuts off. And again, these are both right about 80 feet. We're at 150, and so I stood at that one spot trying to get it to shut off, and it wouldn't. Stood there for a good minute, and I wasn't going to show you that, but so finally at about here, which this is maybe 75, 80 feet, give or take, but, they still work inside your trailer, probably no problem. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get the load test going, and so we're also going to do another sound check after this guy gets about 80, 90% load on it. And we'll go inside here. This is my test facility, a travel trailer with a 30 amp service. And so basically I like using this little heater. It's 350 watts, 3 amps. If you guys don't know what that guy is, I'll put a link in the description down below. That thing is great for keeping the bathroom warm. So we'll go over here, we're going to turn on just some lights real quick, and you'll even see that meter kind of change. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to go down here, and we're actually going to turn off the converter. This is going to make the testing a little bit more equal. You can see it's 13.8 volts there, and don't worry about the battery monitor. I've been playing with that a bunch and just doing a bunch of tests. And so go over here and we'll turn this guy off. Now you see that meter kind of goes down to 0. So this will make our test definitely a lot more consistent. Now you can see the battery charger is off. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn on our AC first, which that's a 15K unit up there. So we'll go over here, turn this guy on high is what we're going to do with our fan speed. Then we'll go ahead and put that all the way down to 55. That'll turn on here in just a second. We're also going to use that 1500 watt heater. And then boom, there you go. Now you see the meter kick on and the fan turns on. That's a 15K unit again with no easy start, no hot start. That thing is just basically naturally aspirated. So we'll also use that microwave after that guy kind of gets going for a second or two. And then boom, there goes the meter. Now the compressor's kicked on. And so that guy is going to draw about, 12 and a half amps. Let that thing run for just a second or two to kind of equalize a little bit. We'll turn on that microwave in a second. Nice cold air there. And so the microwave, that'll be about another 11 amps, give or take. So just kind of check back over there. All right, so let's go ahead and turn this guy on about 6 minutes. You see the meter jump up again. And so with that guy running and basically the AC going the whole time, we're going to go outside and do that sound check. We're running at about 85, 90% power on basically the generator. So we'll go out here. We're going to take a little peek at the sound meter real quick. So we'll go over here. And so now you can kind of see that, sorry for the glare, but kind of getting that sun poking out of those clouds now. I try to put this meter in the same place along with the generator in the same place, maybe off by an inch or two, but whenever I do generator testing in the backyard, basically I get real consistent readings in the same spot. So you can kind of see, we'll see what the Champion looks like later, about 73.5 there. So we're going to go over here and get a little bit more load so we can get the generator basically to max load, and we'll kind of see where that thing shuts off. So that's the 1500 watt heater. It's about 650, 950, and then 1500 watts all the way up, so give or take. We'll turn that guy up. You see the meter pop on there. Then you should see the meter on the generator here come up just a little bit more in just a second. Let's go ahead and turn that thing on one more time. Let's see, AC is still going. And remember, the microwave is also still going. Got another 3 minutes on there. And so now that you see that, remember this is rated at about 30.8 as far as our amps go. And so we're basically right about there. We're at full load. You can see the little red lights on, showing us basically 100%, kind of going back and forth if you happen to notice. And now we're basically at overload, so the lights on, giving us 35 amps, 117 volts. So I mean, everything still looks good. We're not at a dangerous voltage or anything. Everything's looking pretty good. Everything's still running. So kind of take a look. I assume the generator should shut off. Some of them last about 10 seconds. Some will do 30 seconds. And some of them even last to about a minute with that overload light on, depending on how much you're trying to draw and how close it is to the limit. So kind of let it run. And so I sat there and let it run for a while, and it didn't want to shut off. So we'll find out a little bit more power to kind of draw. So we'll turn on this little refrigerator, and well, actually there it goes. It kind of shut off. So I don't know if that was really me or if it happened to be the timer that finally let go on the generator. So we're going to get this guy swapped out and kind of do the same test now with that Champion. So now we got that guy hooked up and ready to go, and do the same thing with a sound check over there later. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a comparison directly. So on the right side, that meter on the right, that's our Westinghouse, and the one on the left is the Champion. So just kind of we'll pay attention to that as we go. And you can kind of see the Westinghouse already puts out, a couple more volts just right off the bat. So go ahead and turn on the AC unit again. And trying to run and sync 3 cameras sometimes is a little bit hard, so I apologize if anything gets off a little bit. So now you can see that the fan is going. Both of these guys are so far pretty close. And then we'll wait for that compressor to kick on, and we'll utilize that guy just in a minute or two. And there we go. Compressor kicks on. Let that run for just a second. Check the cold air again. So now you can see that, for the most part, they're running pretty close. I mean, we're actually seeing more amps on the Champion side, which I'm not really sure why while it's out there running. So again, I do have these kind of synced up as close as I can. We'll go ahead and turn on the microwave now, and then we'll go ahead and do that sound check here in just a second. We'll compare these numbers a little bit too. This kind of gives us a good idea of what's going on. And so now with both of those running, we're going to go outside and do that sound check. And if you look at those numbers, so far they're real close, real identical. So let's just kind of see what this sound meter says. So take a look here. And so that meter is in the way just a little bit, but now that I kind of get it out of the way. So overall, if we kind of look, I mean, I kind of stood here for a while off and on, and it would kind of bounce around back and forth a little bit, and, you know, being with the house there and the wall and everything. But overall, you know, they kind of sound the same, and most of the generators sound like this while they're at load. So I've tested several, and they all sound right about there, 73, 74, some even 75 decibels depending. So we're going to go ahead and continue on, and we'll turn this guy up, same thing. So now we're kind of looking at the voltage drop on the left side, which isn't much, it's not bad, and the amperage as far as the Westinghouse on the right is just slightly higher, or wattage is slightly higher on the right. Go to that medium level, now you see the voltage differences. Amperage is about the same, but the wattage is different. So far you also see the overload light that's on the Champion on the far left screen. You see the light on along with the red. Let's go ahead and turn this guy all the way up, and then we'll let it run just for a little bit. And there we go, both of them kind of up there around 34 amps, but look at the voltage drop at 113 on that Champion. So definitely a little bit lower, and it shut off sooner, which isn't really necessarily a bad thing. It's just doing its job, obviously, to protect anything under, you know, if it's a high load. So other than that, you know, I hope you guys like this testing and stuff. So as far as both of these generators go, let me know down in the comments which one you guys